Hi you guys, my name is Cyan Martin and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing something very exciting and I'm going to be reading books for a week that I let all of you guys pick out for me blindly. I have not a single creative brain cell in my mind, so this is not my idea. I did get this idea from none other than Sarah Caroli. She usually does these on her Instagram and lets you guys pick out her TBR for the month, but for me, I just let you guys pick out the books that I'm reading for the week. Blindly. You'll see what I mean? I think you already probably know. So I did put the polls up on my community tab here on YouTube, and I just did it that way because I know not everyone uses Instagram, but if you're subscribed to me, you probably use YouTube. So that's what we're doing today. Also, if you guys remember voting in this, you did vote in this a while ago. So if you're thinking to yourself, girl, why is it taking you this long to read these books? It's not. I have no idea what you're talking about. I posted that poll yesterday. So here we are. We're starting this off. And the first poll that I had you guys vote on looks like this. I will put it up on the screen. And so as you can see, the very first book is on the left in yellow. And I put an island, a sword, and a green heart for this one. And that stands for the book Jade City. The reason why I put the island is because this does take place on the island of Kekon. I also put the sword emoji on there because they are warriors, and then I put the green heart because, you know, jade, green, obviously makes sense. But then the second book for this poll, I put a ninja, a blade, and a pirate flag. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why did I put those emojis? But that stood for the assassin's blade. I think I put, oh, the ninja because, like, assassin, close enough. The blade because blade is in the title, and then the pirate because if you read on the back it does say that one of the novellas in this book is called The Assassin and the Pirate Lord, and honestly I was running out of ideas, so that's why those are the emojis that I chose for this book. So these were the two books that went up against each other first, and the book that won was The Assassin's Blade. This one had 54% and Jade City had 46%, so it was honestly pretty close, but I am excited to finally start the Throne of Glass series. I know some people will say that it's not the first book in the series. I am reading it first because I have heard that that is the chronological order. These technically take place before the first book. So in my brain, that is what works best for me. That's how I'm probably going to like it the best. So that's why I'm reading it first. But with all of that being said, today is Saturday. So that means that I have no plans because I have no life. So I'm going to sit and read and hopefully try to get through this. It's actually kind of chunky. Yeah, it's over 400 pages. So we'll see if I'll get through it today. Who knows? I'm excited. So let's just get into our first pick of the week. Okay guys, so I have read the first novella in the book called The Assassin and the Pirate Lord, and before I move on to my thoughts about the book, I want to talk to you guys about what I use to annotate a little bit, because I have recently been getting into annotating my books. I personally don't annotate a lot. As you can see, I only have like 2 tabs, and that's because I like to annotate things that I think are the most important, because when you're annotating too much, I just feel like it hinders my reading experience and I just want to enjoy the book. So when I do annotate, I annotate like just things that are super important or quotes that I really like. So my tabs are from Amazon. I'll leave a link down below to those, but I also only underline stuff. I don't really highlight, and when I do, I want to make sure that I'm using a pen that is not going to leak through the pages, which is why I have been using the Bastion Bolt Action pen. I have the aluminum one in this really pretty purple color. They are just great for annotating because when you're underlining things, they are not going to bleed through your pages. These pens also just write so smoothly. I absolutely love them. They're going to last you a very long time, and they are perfect for anything, whether you're annotating. I use it also for schoolwork, and when I was a server back in the day, I would have absolutely loved this pen. Another thing that is so random but that I really love about this pen is the clicker. Is that what it's called? Just look at the way it clicks. Can you see that? There's something about it that just scratches an itch in my brain. I was fortunate enough to be sent this pen by Bastion, but I genuinely love it and I hope that you guys do too. If you are looking for new pens or if you're looking for a new gift to give for someone for the upcoming holidays, they have you set because they don't just sell pens. They also sell watches and bracelets, which personally, I might have to get Parker one for Christmas because they're really nice. So if you guys want to shop their website, you can actually use my code CYAN20 for 20% off. I will also have a link down below for you guys. And thank you once again, Bastion, for sending me the pen and working with me. Absolutely love you guys. And thank you to you guys, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have this opportunity. It's so cool to me. I got a collaboration with a brand. And I have my own coupon code. My name is in the coupon code. Seriously, it means so much to me, guys, so thank you so much. But with all of that out of the way, let's talk about what you're here for, the book. I read the first novella in the Assassin's Blade, and so far we have met our main character, Selena, I think is how you say it. This book is about a group of assassins that work together, and that's really all I know. I'm pretty sure that's what like the whole series is about, and more, of course. Selena is our main character in this one. You kind of are just thrown into it. I still don't know that much about her, but then again, it's the first novella in the book. We are introduced to some of the other assassins that she works with, one in particular that I do believe is going to be a love interest, so I'm excited for that because we all know I love a good romance in a fantasy. So that's what's going on so far. I can't explain anything else really without ruining this, and because it's part of a huge series that some people read first and some people read as like the fourth book, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm enjoying it, so I'm excited to keep reading and figure out what's gonna happen, I guess. Good morning, you guys. So last night I ended up reading a good portion of The Assassin's Blade, and then this morning I woke up early and I finished it off, and this was so good. I'm so excited to start the Throne of Glass series. Once again, I can't really say much about it, but I will just say that I absolutely love the little novellas because it kind of felt good to read it. Does that make any sense? Like, I couldn't put it down until I finished each novella. So if I wanted to take a break, I just told myself, well, take a break after you read this novella. Maybe that's just a my brain thing, but that's what happened while reading it. I really enjoyed it. I do feel like, though, I'm going to have to give this one just a 4-star, solely because I know that this is a long series and I'm sure that they're just gonna end up getting better. So I feel like I can't rate it 5 stars quite yet. I also just think that I didn't feel that much of a connection with the characters because they were short novellas and like each of them is a different story. You kind of can't build that much of a connection to the characters quite yet. Does this make any sense? Probably not. But anyways, it makes sense in my brain, so it is sitting at a 4-star, but I still really enjoyed it. But now I'm excited because we get to move on to our next book. So for this one, the very top pick for the emojis, I put sparkles, I guess, a crown, and a broken heart. And that one is for Once Upon a Broken Heart. Obviously, I used the sparkle because there's magic in here. So there's that. I put the crown and broken heart because it has Jackson here and he is the king of, is he the prince of broken hearts? The king? The prince? The prince of hearts. Oh, well, it's not a broken heart, but the title is Once Upon a Broken Heart. So, you know, it still fits. But that's this one. And then for the second option, I put 2 girls, a fire emoji, and a fist emoji, and I did those for the Kingdom of the Wicked. 2 girls because I'm pretty sure this is about sisters, and then the fire because he is a prince of hell, and the fist because I think it's wrath. Yes, wrath, and like fist, wrath. So that's that one. The one that ended up winning was Once Upon a Broken Heart. This one had 64% and Kingdom of the Wicked had 36%. So we are going to read this today, which I'm so excited because I did read the Caraval trilogy, absolutely loved it, loved Jax, and I am so excited to get back into his story. So we're just gonna start it. Oh, wow, the font in here is big. Like, that's big font. Do you see that? I'm also going to get rid of this dust jacket while I read because I am one of those people where I don't like that while I'm reading. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I have just made it to chapter 19, page 148 in the book, and this one is about Evangeline. She has, trying not to spoil anything, she needs to ask a favor from Jax, who is a fate, which they're kind of treated like gods in this world, so think of them as that way, but they're not good. Let me actually stand you up instead of just tossing you guys around. As I was saying, this is about Evangeline, and she wants to make a deal with a fate named Jax, who is the Prince of Hearts, and these are mythical beings that they're kind of treated like gods, but like I was saying, not necessarily good ones. She makes a deal with him, and in return, she has to give him 3 kisses. Well, not him, but she has to kiss anyone that he says 3 different times, and his kisses are magical, so let's just say stuff is gonna go down anytime she redeems one of these kisses for him. And I just got to a really good part and I have to leave, so it's killing me. But I'm so excited. Stephanie, is it Garber or Gerber? Why do I always want to say Gerber? Stephanie Garber has done it again. I absolutely loved the Caraval trilogy, and this is just doing it for me right now. I'm loving this book. There's just something about the way she writes. It's so fast-paced, so fun, so interesting, and it feels very, I don't know how to describe it because they are high stakes, but I don't know. It's just like ACOTAR has a completely different feel than this book. This one almost feels like a fairy tale. Is that like a good way to describe it? Let me know. But I did just want to warn you guys that if you were thinking about reading this and then going back to the Caraval trilogy, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it does kind of ruin stuff that happens in the Caraval trilogy, but it doesn't go into depth, so it's not like a big, huge spoiler. And the Caraval trilogy is also just so different from this book so far, so do with that what you will. But I've got to go in a few minutes, and I'll probably continue reading on the car ride because I do have like a 30-minute car ride, so you know, I can keep reading. Oh wait, this chapter's literally only a page and a half. Should I read it real quick before I leave? I think so. Okay guys, whoa, let's ignore that big pile of laundry I have yet to put up. You know, no, is that better? Yeah. Yeah. So I have officially made it to page, well, part 3 in the book, and I have been eating this up. It is such a fast, fun read. The story, like I was saying earlier, just feels very fairy tale-esque, and there's something about these characters. I love them. I think I like this more than the Caraval trilogy, but I think the main reason why is because the Caraval trilogy is great at setting you up for this world and these characters, specifically Jax, and just really caring about them. But I don't know how I would feel if I just read this series, you know, because there's like so much backstory. But you are learning a little bit more about Jax in this book, and you're meeting other different fates and seeing what they're all about, and it's just a really good time. I can already tell you it's gonna be rated highly, and I think you guys should read this series if I haven't said it enough. But I'm going to now lay down for the night, and honestly, I might try to finish it. Hi you guys, I'm back. So last night I did finish Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and I think I'm just gonna have to give this 5 stars because I absolutely enjoyed it so much. Like, I don't know, I can't explain it. I loved it. It was so much fun. Definitely give it a try. Cannot rave about this book enough. Like, at the end, it does leave off on a cliffhanger, and I want so badly to just start the next book, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to control myself, and we're going to go ahead and pick out the next book that we have. So for this one, I put a money bag, 2 boys, and a house, and for that one, that is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I put the bag of money because she inherits a bunch of money, and then the 2 boys because I'm pretty sure it's a love triangle between a girl and 2 brothers, and then the house because she has to go like live in this house in order to get the inheritance, I think. I'm not really sure. I should have read this book a long time ago because it's been popular for forever, but I just haven't. So there's that. But then the next one I put a magnifying glass, a puzzle piece, and a detective, and that is The Naturals because the magnifying glass, they're solving cold case files, I'm pretty sure. The puzzle piece because all of the covers for this series have the puzzle pieces on them, and then the detective because the main character is a girl detective. So it makes sense. And the one that won by a landslide was The Naturals. It won by 73%, and The Inheritance Games only had 27%, which I'm honestly excited about because for today, I just wanted a really good book that I could just sit down and completely binge because I have no plans. Once again, are we surprised? No. But I genuinely just want to sit down and binge this book in one sitting, and I think it'll be a perfect book for that. They're YA, fast-paced, I'm assuming, and I've heard really great things about this recently, and I love Criminal Minds, and a lot of people compare it to that, so we'll just have to see for ourselves. Okay, so I have been reading for a long while now, and I have made it to about 50% of the way through the book. So it's just like everyone says it is. If you have heard anyone describe this book, it's about a group of teenagers who they become part of a team for the FBI in order to help them solve cold cases. So we have 5 teenagers, Dean and Cassie. They are both profilers. We have Michael, who is good at reading people's emotions, Sloane, who is the statistics slash numbers girl, and lastly we have Leah, who is good at lying and being able to tell when other people are lying. They are all recruited for this team because of their special abilities. I've heard people say in their videos that they have like these supernatural abilities, but really, and like no discredit to them, that's not supernatural if you ask me. Like, there's no element to that that's supernatural. I'm pretty sure that is stuff that real humans can do in real life. But anyways, this story is told in Cassie's point of view, so you're only really getting her point of view. I don't know if the other books are going to have other characters' point of views or if we're still going to be in Cassie's shoes, so I'm curious to see about that because I think there's 4 or 5 books total, but this one was really good. And like I said, they're supposed to be working on cold cases, but they have found themselves being involved with an ongoing case, so it's something personal, and so now they're getting involved in this and working on a case that is ongoing of a new serial killer. And one thing that I do really like is that at the end of a lot of the chapters you get like a page, maybe a page and a half, from the serial killer's point of view, and I keep reading them looking for little hints of like who it could possibly be because I'm pretty sure we've met who the killer is already, so we will just have to see. But I'm having a really good time. It's really fun, and it's just exactly what I needed, you know? If you're in a slump, I think this would be a great book to read. So I'm gonna keep reading. Okay guys, so last night I did end up finishing The Naturals, and I don't really have much to say about this except that I really enjoyed this book. The author does a great job at just grasping your attention, keeping it, you want to keep reading, figure out this mystery, and I thought it really ended on a good note. I didn't necessarily guess the plot twist, but it was like in my options. of what the plot twist could be. So I guess I did kind of guess it, but I didn't know for sure. It was just up there. But I still really enjoyed this book. I think I would give this one 4 stars because it is really fun, fast paced. I enjoyed it so much. I absolutely love how it literally did feel like Criminal Minds. And like I've already mentioned, I just love Criminal Minds so much. So being able to find a series that is very similar is something that I love. But I just think it's not one of those books that gave me a 5-star feeling, yet I still really loved it, so I do highly recommend it. Moving forward, today we are picking up another book. So for this one, the first one has a girl doctor, a red heart, and a zombie. And for that one, that is Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz. And the reason why I chose that is because in the synopsis, it says that Hazel is a lady who wants to be a surgeon, so lady doctor, and then I put a heart because I'm assuming she falls in love with Jack Kerr, who is a resurrection man. So I thought that would be really interesting to read. I honestly am so excited to read this because I saw somewhere on TikTok where this girl said that this is her all-time favorite love story, and it's just so beautiful. So of course I'm excited. But then the second book, I put books, a heart, and a ghost, and that one is The Dead Romantics. I put the books because I'm pretty sure she's an author, the heart, and then I think she falls in love with the ghost. Hear me out. I'm not sure. I just know that she can see ghosts, and I think the male love interest is one of the ghosts that she sees. I'm hoping I'm wrong though, I'm not gonna lie, because there's just something that seems almost morally gray about falling in love with a ghost. But anyways, let's see which one actually won the voting. So this one was a big difference. The winner was The Dead Romantics. This had 70%, and then Anatomy had 30%. So this is what we'll be reading. I honestly did try to pick this up like a while ago, read 10 pages and then put it back down because I just wasn't in the mood at the time. So we're gonna give it another chance. Hopefully I end up really enjoying it. So let's just see how this goes. Please don't fall in love with a real ghost. Okay, so I've been reading for a little bit now. I am on chapter 12 of the book, and so far this is about a girl named Florence, and Florence, let me make sure this is not a spoiler. Okay, so on the back it says this, so this is not a spoiler, but her father dies and she has to go back home in order to help her family prepare for his funeral. And as it turns out, her and her father both share this gift where they can see ghosts, and when she returns home, she ends up seeing the ghost of her brand new editor named Ben. And now I guess they're just gonna try to figure out what the heck happened to him because he has no idea, she has no idea. And when I say new editor, I mean brand spanking new. Like, she met this man once and now she is seeing his ghost, and when she sees ghosts, she normally helps them, I guess, like pass over. So I guess that's what she's gonna be doing with Ben, and we'll see how this develops into a relationship. I don't know, but it's not as bad so far. It isn't really romance heavy. I've heard that this author is more of like a lit fiction. Is that correct? Do I ever know what I'm talking about half the time? No, but I'm pretty sure that's what this is. It's not really going to be romance heavy. It is a little bit on the slower pace, but I'm still not bored or anything like that. I am a little nervy because I expect grief to be a huge topic in this, and honestly I don't really like reading about that because I have kind of recently had to deal with grief, so I don't want to cry while reading this book. But I'm just gonna keep reading for a little bit and then I will update you guys whenever there's more to say. Good morning, you guys. So, yesterday I got pretty far into The Dead Romantics, and then I woke up this morning and I finished it off. And I would have to say that this book is actually a lot better than I was expecting it to be. I probably would give it, I want to say a 3.5 because I did enjoy it. It does, like I said, deal with a lot of grief. And it did make me tear up a little bit because I don't know if I'm the only one that does this, but like her father passes away in this book. And so as I was reading it and her experience with grief and her family's relationship and how that changed, I started imagining how I would feel if my dad passed away. And like, let's not put that out there. Let's not put that into my head. I don't know why I do that, but I put myself in her shoes and then I started tearing up. I highly don't recommend doing that, but besides that, I did enjoy the story. It is more of lit fic. Also, this is going to be a spoiler, so skip to here if you don't want to hear this, but she doesn't fall in love with a ghost. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna explain it. It is not an actual ghost. So, with that being said, I did enjoy it. There were definitely some slower parts. It definitely did get a little bit boring at some parts, but it was still really good and a lot better than I honestly expected it to be. So that's how I feel about this one. But now I'm going to start our final book for this video. So our final book What is it? So for the first choice, we have the crying face emoji, this emoji, and then a pregnant woman emoji. And for that one, I know a lot of y'all weren't gonna vote for that one because of the pregnant woman emoji. You probably thought that it was an accidental pregnancy trope, but it's not. It's actually for a little life. Let me explain. So we have the crying emoji because I've heard that this is a very sad story. Obviously the person on the cover looks like they're about to cry. And then we have this emoji because it's the only thing I could do to like a little, you know? Like, I don't think there was this emoji. Maybe there was, I just couldn't find it. But it's like, not really. But you know what? I try my best. And then the pregnant woman because life. She's giving life. I think I also pretty much cheated because I knew you guys wouldn't vote for the pregnancy one if you saw that in there, and I didn't want to read this. I have had a confliction with reading this book for the absolute longest time ever. So that was the first option, and then the second option I put the video game emoji, a boy and girl together emoji, and then a sunshine emoji. That one is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I put the video game because this is about video games, the boy and girl because I'm pretty sure the main characters are both a boy and a girl who are really good friends, and then the sunshine because, you know, like a new day, the sun is shining tomorrow. You get it. The one that won was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This one had 64% and A Little Life had 36%. So I am gonna start reading this. This has won like so many awards and everyone that reads this book loves it. So I'm a little scared because what if I don't like it? But also it's not that deep, you know? So we're gonna start reading it. I'm also wearing my little thing and I'm just going to rot in it today and sit here and read. Okay, so I have made it to part 2 in the book, and that means, I mean, I'm not that far into it, but so far this is about Sadie and Sam. They were childhood friends because they both spent a lot of time in the hospital for different reasons, and they kind of formed a bond over their love of video games. Now it is years later because they kind of stopped being friends and now they have reconnected with one another. Well, they kind of haven't, but they have. Like, they just kind of met and he's trying to keep in touch, but she's not, but they're going, you know what? I'm not even going to try to explain that. All that matters is that they have reconnected, and I believe they're in college. I know she is, but I don't know if it's like grad school or undergrad. Not important here. The important thing is that now they have reconnected. I haven't really gotten anything other than that from it because, like I said, I'm not that far into the book. I will just say I'm not absolutely loving it. I think it's like in my head, I know it's just general fiction, so there's not going to be a lot of action, not a lot going on. I don't think it's a romance at all, and I just know that it's literally just going to be a story about these two people and their everyday lives, and I'm not in the mood for that right now. Like, I'm in the mood for a fantasy, but I'm still gonna read it. No. I was literally about to lie to you guys for no reason. I'm not gonna say that I'm enjoying it. I don't know how I feel because I just don't feel connected to either of the characters right now. And I don't like some of the decisions that they're making. Well, mostly Sadie. And it's the very beginning of the book. But I'm just gonna keep reading and I'll update you guys in a little bit. This is probably one of the most unflattering angles, but let me tell you, I am at peak comfort level right now. Can't be bothered. Hi. So it has been like 4 days later, and I have finally finished reading Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Why was that hard for me to say? I didn't update you guys much because listen, I'm gonna disappoint a bunch of you guys real quick, but I could not get into this book. I did finish it and I don't know what it was, but I just felt like it went so slow. Don't get me wrong, I understand why people love this book so much. I can acknowledge that it is a beautiful story about friendship and how friendship dynamics change throughout years and how people change and you all grow and sometimes you grow in and out of a friendship, but I just did not care. I don't know what it was. I think honestly that because I have been in such a huge like fantasy mood and I've been wanting to read stuff that is super fast paced, and this being as slow paced as it was just wasn't clicking in my brain for me. I also think that this felt a little too real. And when I read, I want to escape, you know? I want to live in a world where people have powers, or in a thriller where you're trying to guess what's going on, or a romance where it makes you get little butterflies even though you know it's super unrealistic and stuff like that. I don't want to read something that feels so real. And I think that's a me problem. What does that say about me? You know, I don't know. I read books to escape and this just wasn't that. So that is why I did not necessarily love this book, but don't get mad at me because I completely understand why people do. I do think it's a beautiful story, but it just wasn't for me. So I am going to give it a 3-star. It was a middle of the road book. There were some parts that were very, very interesting, but overall, I just had a really tough time getting into this. For me personally, if a book takes me 4 days to read, I'm probably not in love with it. So that's how I feel. Don't get mad. I completely see why you guys love it, but that's all my thoughts. And those are all the books that you guys chose for me to read this week. I did really enjoy pretty much most of them. So yeah, that is it for this video though. Thank you guys for blindly choosing my TBR for me. I had a lot of fun doing this video and I hope that you guys liked it. And I hope that you all have a great rest of your week or day or whatever. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!